What's up, everybody? Scotty White, World Combat Sports. I'm stopping by to give you a little bit of post fight this past weekend. Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to get to Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, possibly going down number two, the rematch in 2019. But I want to first talk about what went on this weekend. Teofimo Lopez went in there and stopped Menard quicker than Devin Haney did. That was the typical fight for him. Okay, he thought within himself that's the fight plan he wanted, and he went in there and just bum rushed, closed distance quite quickly. You know what I'm saying? And Menard act like he didn't show up to fight. I'm not sure what was going on. I'm not going to make any excuses for Menard, but he fought better when he was in there with Haney. He just stood around waiting for the shots to come to him, waiting for the offense to present itself against a fighter like Lopez. And Lopez, he crushed him. Had nothing to do with Fortnite, but he did put him out that night. You know what I'm saying? Face first. So give it up for Teofimo Lopez, man, for going in there and getting it done. Look forward to seeing what he has next on the docket as a professional fighter. Up and coming rising star doing big things. Isaac Dogboe. Um, we seen him going in there against Magdalena, and he had issues. And then he turned around and go in there against Emmanuel Navarrete, right? I looked at this guy, and I said he haven't had a loss in a while. And his previous loss was when he was like in, early in his career. So I thought it was going to be a problem from the start, man. This dude was tall, rangy, and the way he was selecting his punches in there against Dogboe the first, couple of frames of the fight, I knew it was going to be a long fight for Dogboe. I'm glad to see that he didn't capitulate, and he was there for the long haul, and he stood in there, he didn't quit. But the main thing about it was the amount of punishment he took was the worst that I've seen, in his career, especially when him, defending his title and everything. It was just crazy to see Navarrete have such an easy go at Dogboe. Dogboe should have stayed in the chest of Navarrete. He was outside on the front end of his punches, and it's bad all the way around. And he was the shorter fighter. Navarrete had the height advantage, the reach advantage, and he was using it. He was fighting tall, and it was a problem. And he punished Isaac Dogboe. He absolutely punished him, and he fought the way he's supposed to fight. He boxed. You know what I'm saying? And he was right there in the pocket, shooting that offense the way it's supposed to be. So, I give it up to him for getting it done. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole part of boxing, man. He may be in the weight class, but you kind of find out who's big for the weight class and who's small. That night, Isaac Dogboe seemed a bit small when he ran into somebody who was true to that weight class. You know what I'm saying? He was true to that weight, and it was a big problem. So, what Navarrete is going to do since he's the champion, we'll see moving forward. Next, I want to talk about Lomachencko, and when he came up there and did what he did in a 12-round decision against Pedraza, Jose Pedraza. Okay, we've seen what happened when he was in there with Jorge Linares, right? So people was like, oh, yeah, he got sat down in the 6th round, and Lomachencko got up, brushed himself off, and then came back and ended up finishing the fight with a body shot. Now, something similar happened in that in the 11th round. And I'm saying to myself, why don't he go to the body more often if it's such a lethal blow everybody's talking about? That's because it isn't. It's not as lethal as people are leading it on to be. He goes to the body when his fighter get fatigued. I know he worked. He put in the work to cash the checks to the dividends that work for that knockout. But let's get it understood. Pedraza was using very solid movement. He was elusive. He was avoiding punches. He wasn't an idle, static target for freaking Lomachencko to have his way and use his back and forth lateral movement and shoot the angles. Pedraza was moving, but with that movement, you have to be able to sustain that. And, in the 11th round, he started to falter just a little bit, dilapidated in a sense, and he ended up being dropped twice in the 11th round. But what I can appreciate and salute to Pedraza for standing on his feet, man, rising up to finish the fight. Because Lomachencko looked out there and gave the over sign, just like Deontay Wilder did in a sense. And it wasn't over yet. So Pedraza stayed in there, and he kind of kept his distance and floated to the final seconds of the 12th round and finished the fight. Somewhat earning a moral victory. You know what I'm saying? But, when I look at that whole deal post-fight, Pedraza was just acting like he wanted to sit up there and dog, Tank Davis for doing something that Lomachencko wasn't able to do. Tank Davis, put the brakes on you, knock you out 38 seconds remaining in the 7th round. So you ask the question, of course the media is going to hype that up. They're going to bloviate as much as possible because they're trying to basically instigate a future matchup between them two. So they ask you, Pedraza, who's better, Lomachencko and Tank Davis, and you kind of act like Tank Davis did nothing. You want to highlight Lomachencko. You didn't put that type of punishment on Tank Davis. His face wasn't looking like Lomachencko. That's fact. You want to sit up here and give Lomachencko all that credit when you should have just, been real with yourself and said, hey, Tank Davis, he knocked me out. He was the better man. But, don't go in there just acting like you can't give this man no credit. You can give him credit. You know what I'm saying? That's real talk. You could have gave that man credit. But you go over there and kind of, criticize Tank Davis for not even putting forth the effort that Lomachencko did. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if you think you're going to get a rematch, because you're not going to get a rematch with Lomachencko. Your belt is gone already. Done. It was lifted. It's in the hands of Lomachencko now, the unified champion at that division. So what next? You have to figure that out. But I just wish you would have been a bit more honest with yourself and sticking to the code and letting them know, letting the public, the boxing community know that Tank Davis gave you better work than Lomachencko. Tank Davis made it look so easy. But you was in there, going side to side, lateral movement, having to reset, create distance, pick and choose to select your punches carefully, and making sure you don't get countered. You was moving all night long. But you couldn't move when Tank was going to the body. Tank was basically breaking you down. Much more power shots that Tank Davis landed on you. And ended up stopping the fight. But anyway, enough of that, man. Pedraza, you did what you have to do. Salute to you. Now, to Lomachencko. The Lomachencko fans is out there. Those of you that sit up here and continue to praise this dude for being in the same conversation, the talking points of the greats. Ali, I hear that name a lot. You know what I'm saying? You want to compare him to one of the ATGs of boxing without even having a resume. You want to say within the 13 fights he has or whatever, name somebody else that's did that. Well, name somebody who had 396-1 in the AMs that homestead for a second gold medal and then came over here and tried to set the record. You know what I'm saying? And since then, y'all want to make it seem like, okay, 13 fights, 4 world titles. Like I said, find somebody else that stayed over in the amateurs that long and then came over here like you a young freaking 22-year-old or something like that. Like you coming over here and you in your 20s and you putting in the work you're doing. Bro, you're 30 years old. You're grown. Why are you acting like, you come over here 13 fights, 4 world titles, and you sit up here 3 division champion. Everybody's just glorifying that. Oh, he was able to pick up a championship in 3 fights. But you stayed over there in the Olympics forever and a day, man. And still came over here and got that Solito work. I just don't get it, man. Lomachencko looked old yesterday. And I've been telling you all. I've been telling you casuals, right? if you have 300 and some fights, that is wear and tear on your body. No matter how you look at it, the body does not stop aging. The wear and tear on your body is still sustainable. You need to understand that. Stop going in here acting like Lomachencko came in here like a newborn baby. And he's putting in that work without the experience. And he's some incredible fighter. Yeah, he looks the part. His dad put him in a dance class. So be it. But he isn't a knockout puncher. Just like they was hyping up Triple G as this knockout artist, right? Until he ran into Danny Jacobs. Increased his competition, ran into Danny Jacobs, who stopped the 23-fight win streak. And then you look at Lomachencko, increased competition. What happens? The guy gets up. We're not talking about Jorge Linares because he had been stopped before. But we can talk about Jose Pedraza. Why? Because he only had one loss to Tank Davis. So him stopping Pedraza, knocking him down in the 11th round and getting back up just goes to show you, he's not this impenetrable, immortal boxer that you're putting him out to be. Okay, I just never been a fan. I always thought he had work to do. He's not really a big puncher. That's why his team kind of kept him on the outside looking in and brought him in the gate at the right time for boxing. And they're trying to put all these records in a short period of time because the window of his career is closing. It is. Hey, he run into the right one, you might find him getting stopped. For real, he run into the right one, you might find Lomachencko on the canvas again, looking at the lights and seeing the referee count him up. You know what I'm saying? That's fact. Let me get to the primary, of what I want to talk about. That's Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. All right. We seen what happened. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. Let me talk about a little bit to the lead up. Deontay Wilder's been training. He's been defending his title. That was the 8th time the man defended his title. Let's be clear. He's been doing everything he's supposed to. He gave Luis Ortiz a title shot. The man haven't popped positive for pads. He's been a clean fighter, doing what the hell he's supposed to do. Now, you want to constantly talk about the man depleted skill set. Let me tell you, the veracity is there. Okay, he does have deficiencies and fragmentations in his skill set, but he's still a boxer. You still have to respect the man's IQ. He has underappreciated ring IQ. The way he delegate what his skill set consists of, he does it in dominating fashion. He's knocked out all his opponent, all 39. He avenged that distance of Severn. He came back and made it happen. But what I don't understand is that you criticize so much about Deontay Wilder on what he isn't displaying in the ring as far as his skill set. Then you turn around for a man who was at that pinnacle when the fans really wasn't supporting him like that. He was very controversial and everything in Tyson Fury. So he vacated his belts because he went into a sobriety, codependency on drugs and everything else. And also he popped for pads. So also in his bravado, his persona, he was saying controversial stuff. You know what I'm saying? He was a very controversial. He made a couple of homophobic, rants or whatever. And then he was talking about religion. He was that guy. They didn't like him. So therefore, he goes away for a couple of years. And then he comes back and the PR team probably spoken to him several times over. And, I like Tyson Fury, but I'm not the one to sit up here and just jump on that wagon and slap the horse in the ass and say, let's go. We're on the Tyson Fury bandwagon. I'm going to lean off the side in case I want to jump off when things not going right, when we hit rough terrain. You know what I'm saying? Tyson Fury came back, and the only thing I hear is about this mental health stuff. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a little bit cowardice, right? Pusillanimous to involve this mental health without placing him in smack that in the center and hold him liable, hold him culpable for what the decision he made. I always tell people, they have so many shows about people losing weight, right? But what about the people like myself that's never been in that state of mind? Because he made a choice to be in that state. He made a choice. He sure did. He made a choice to be in the situation he was. And then while Deontay Wilder's over here training, going in there facing Luis Ortiz at 200 and what he came in at 214 pounds, and King Kong was 235. So he comes in here at 200 and what? 12? He was 209 pounds before. They had to blow him up a little bit more. He stepped on the scales at 212. And Tyson Fury's like damn near 270 pounds. And you all are absolutely diluting any type of boxing fundamentals that he didn't have, as if he just walked in there and he wasn't doing too much of anything. The man still had to work his combinations to get the knockdowns. He was throwing jabs periodically in pockets. Now, what we know about Deontay Wilder, he doesn't throw combinations all too often with turning over his punches. We know that for a fact. He doesn't really close distance because his effective work is at range. You know what I'm saying? At distance, keeping distance and using his power and maximize that power. That's what Deontay Wilder does. He doesn't really dirty box on the inside. He doesn't really, box in your chest. But you can guarantee when he close distance and he get close enough and he's throwing that punch in the process of closing distance and he's launching that left or right hand, you can guarantee you're going to feel that power. So it brings me to this. I just look at the whole entire talking points that's on the surface of the media. And Tyson Fury getting on here and people saying he arose in the 12th round and, he was in the spirit of God. It's so hypocritical. It's triple, quadruple standard because you're not even placing any culpability on that man for being out the sport for which he has a lineage of. He has a deep lineage in the Gypsy Kings, generations of fighters in his family. But yet you allow him to say, okay, let me use an scapegoat to place everything on mental health when there's people out here that actually has mental health. What about Deontay Wilder's reason from the inception of his career to fight for his daughter who has spina bifida? What about that? Isn't that much more understanding and comprehensive, right? When a child really doesn't understand the disability for which they have. But you're talking about a grown man who's fully cognizant of what's going on, right from wrong, and he chose that particular avenue. So which one are you going to balance on your scales? You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with morals. It has something to do with understanding to check the box from right or wrong. Which one are you going to check the box of? A man that started fighting for his daughter, trained a little bit over a year in the Olympics and still came out with a bronze medal? But yet, he just gets so much criticism from the deepest level. Then you got Tyson Fury. He chose to be in the situation he was, and people praise him as he's from the pantheon of boxing. Like he's this new, profound fighter that they're trying to freaking serenade. And they're trying to build this guy up for this campaign, you know what I'm saying, to go around as if he's the Pope of boxing now. Tyson Fury put on a solid boxing match. He did. I like the way he threw his combinations, turning over his punches, and I like his foot movement. I did. I like that. I call Tyson Fury the Batman of Gotham because he just don't care, man. He's that guy. He put on a phenomenal contest. So did Wilder. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to who won, I'm going to tell you, World Combat Sports, I'm going to keep it the way I saw it. I thought Tyson Fury did more in the boxing match to earn that decision. I did. I think Tyson Fury edged out Deontay Wilder in that facet. But I also look at it like this too. Hearing that Deontay Wilder was injured, he seemed a little gassed in the later rounds, not going to make excuses for the bronze bomber. He pretty much looked the way I've known him to look. He's going to have to tighten up on some stuff. But what isn't going anywhere is his power. Tyson Fury, I just felt that, Jack Reese kind of held the count just a little bit long in the process of trying to coddle Tyson Fury, trying to make sure he arrives and make sure everything is out. And when you get on here and trying to explain yourself, say, I'm glad you know what's going on. No, per the ABC, you should have been one arm's distance. But you was right up over that man using excessive movement, and you allow him to have some type of revival. You know what I'm saying? That was you. You was in that count, and you don't, and it says in the ABC, you're not supposed to use excessive movement. You're supposed to be one arm's distance. You picked up the count, okay, cool. But those of you that's believing that Mr. Reese is basically saying he wanted to count the champion out, wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, it's just one of those alternatives to say I did what the hell I wanted to do because it was Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder was the champ. He was one that was holding the WBC title. Period. Say what the hell you want to say. That's what it was. You know? So, when I look at shout out on Joseph McCann, Absolutely Boxing. Salute, man. So when it comes down to the bout itself, I told you what it was. I just felt that Deontay Wilder was outpointed, but also I believe the knockout, which came from before the final bell, I believe that the ref took a little bit more time than he needed to freaking count the 10. If he's going to say boxing fans need to understand there's no 10 count, then why have it in the manual? Why have it in the knockout mechanics? You know what I'm saying? The knockdown mechanics. Why put it in there? Why have it in the Association of Boxing Commissions to be one arm's distance from a fighter? Why have the rules and regulations if you're going to have a referee that's a well-known referee to say what? I want to count the champion out, and I want to basically, give him every opportunity. And the fans doesn't need to latch on to it being a 10 count. It's not a 10 count. So if it's not a 10 count, what is it, 15, 20 count? Because I've seen fighters knocked out, and they was counting. James Kirkland, when he was knocked out by Canelo the second time, it wasn't no standing over here trying to help him come up. No, it was done. Amir Khan. You know what I'm saying? It's so many fighters that have been counted out when they was in the same state of mind as Fury. So this leads me to this. This leads me to my next. Well, what I'm hearing, the WBC is ordering a rematch. And hopefully that rematch goes down sometime soon. Because right now, I really don't want to see these two go in there with Anthony Joshua. Because it'll basically be somewhat of him being able to ride that wave, the energy of doing those solid numbers. The entire negative, ominous aura that they presented, that Deontay Wilder hasn't sold out this and haven't sold out that. So him and Tyson Fury, once again, it takes two to sell out. Just like Anthony Joshua was in there with Klitschko, it takes two to sell out something. So you go in there and you look at the numbers, and they did about, over 320, right? Those are solid, decent numbers. I really don't want Anthony Joshua to dip in here and fight either of those two, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and take it to Wembley Stadium while the energy is high and the attention is zoomed in. You know what I'm saying? Let him go ahead and fight Jarrell Miller, Dillian White. Even though, I'm looking at Dillian White, he has Chisora coming up. Will it be enough time for him to turn around and go in there with Anthony Joshua? So, who's going to be next? It all depends. I can care less who's stepping in there with Anthony Joshua. But I really want this rematch to happen so it can be a definitive champion on the WBC side, so we can kind of gravitate more into a bridging that unification bout to make an undisputed one face, one name, one champion in the heavyweight division. That's what we need to focus on. And hopefully that happens. And that's about it, what I have to say about, this past weekend. It was a lot of talk about Lomachencko and Pedraza. And I'm like, hey, Lomachencko look old in there. The man is 30 years old. And he went in there, and people are saying on these threads, right, that Pedraza didn't even land a punch. And also, so I chime in and I say, if Pedraza didn't land a punch, who the hell was hitting this guy? Because he looked like he took punishment. Find Casper, send out a search and rescue, and find out who the hell was in there punching Lomachencko in between rounds. During that minute, if he wasn't taking punishment during the fight, somebody need to zoom in on the camera, and get some ghost experts and see can they see who was connecting on him in the corner, because he looked like he took punishment to me. You know what I'm saying? So give Pedraza his credit. He was able to connect on Lomachencko, but he didn't win the fight. We know that. It's no mistake in that. He didn't win the fight. You say the rematch first, then winners versus AJ. Yes, possible winners versus AJ. Yeah, 135 is a good. 135 is a hot division when Mikey Garcia returns. You know what I'm saying? Lomachenko's was able to pick up one belt, and then you have the WBC and the IBF out there. So whenever they take that opportunity to tighten up that IBF, if Mikey Garcia doesn't give Lomachenko the shot, then we'll see him go over there to the IBF. And really, I mean, who are we looking at over there at the IBF? We might find Lomachenko over there at the IBF soon in 2019, because they're talking about freaking Edna Cherry or whatever. Come on, man. Yeah, I think Mikey Garcia would do very well, like I said before, against Lomachenko. I said it before he fought. You know, Lomachenko, I tell people, the man is 396-1. He took damage. And then the casuals get on here and saying, look what he's done. 13 fights. He's won 4 world titles. And then you want to talk about 3 division champion. But all the wear and tear that happened in the Olympics isn't going anywhere. They chose to break open that door at the right time for him to come in there for that feat. And still he ran into problems. He wanted to do it in 2, couldn't do it, and he ended up being doing it in 3, which tied this other fighter. So he wanted to set records and be great in a short period of time. In actuality, you know, his resume needs to be a bit better. Him fighting Sosa for the WBA regular, man, come on, bro. You know, I respect Gary Russell Jr., but I look at him like he's fighting once a year. You know what I'm saying? But that was legitimate. He defeated Gary Russell Jr. for the vacant WBA. All right, got it. He defeated Jorge Linares for his title. Okay, he had been stopped already, so you stopped the guy who had been stopped several times over. I'm just waiting for him to step up competition to kind of put him, you know, because I hear too many people. I see too much on here of people just giving this guy extremely amount of accreditation as being in the conversation of guys who did a lot more, have much more experience. And a lot of them are gold medalists. A double gold medalist doesn't put you in an all-time great in professional boxing. It's what you do over here. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's what I have to say. That's about it. Not too much. You know, Lomachenko did his thing. He did what he had to do. And on to the next. You know, Mikey Garcia, once he go in there in March against Errol Spence, we'll see how that turn out. We'll see how much punishment he take. Because I don't see him, you know, Robert Garcia want to say they're going to go out here and punish Errol Spence every round. Okay, you have 12 rounds to do that. 8-ounce gloves. Bring your mouthpiece, your trunks, your shoes. Make sure you have everything you're supposed to do, because you can't wear a breastplate. And when Errol Spence start putting that glove to the body, you're gonna wish you had one of those breastplates, you know, that you practice with in sparring, so you can kind of absorb those body shots. But hey, I have all the respect in the world for Mikey Garcia. Go in there and get that paycheck. And you know what? I don't foresee you winning. Period. I'm not gonna sit up here and ride the fence and say, oh, it's a perfect time for him to shock the world. I don't see that happening. Unless Errol Spence stop training and he steps back in the gym a week prior to the fight, I don't see you winning that fight, Mikey Garcia. Even though, you know, Robert Garcia, you know, look, why would Robert Garcia put out something as reckless as we're going to punish Errol Spence? They're so astute to the game of boxing and educated. They're just playing with y'all. They just did that for the media. They're not going to come out here and pull a Sean Porter and go toe-to-toe and stand in the pocket and trade with Errol Spence. They're not going to do that. they're too educated in the sport of the sweet science, man, for them to go out here and be in the chest of Errol Spence in the opening bell. It's not going to happen. So yeah, that's all. I wanted to jump on YouTube, man. I'm gonna be on YouTube a lot more. Guarantee that. I'm gonna be on YouTube a lot more. World Combat Sports. Be sure to check me out on Facebook and IG, and definitely support World Combat Sports. I look forward to seeing you in there on the lives. Shout out to Absolutely Boxing, Joseph McCann for stopping through. Appreciate it. Facebook is what it is, man. I gotta switch it up for IG and freaking YouTube. Facebook, I don't, it is what it is. I ain't gonna say anything, man. It is what it is. But I definitely taking different avenues to talk about the sport of boxing. Try to get out here, get more followers, build up the subscribers out here. Y'all pass the word about World Combat Sports, especially on my YouTube channel. I need more subscribers on the YouTube, and it's up to you. One team, one fight. That's all I'm saying. So, okay. And for those of you that's tuning in, that's peeking in through the window, I see like 3 of y'all up in here. Thanks for tuning in. Salute to you for stopping through. You could have put some comments up there. I definitely would like to see all of your comments and interact with you, especially here on YouTube. And you're going to definitely see me on YouTube, World Combat Sports, more often. I'm going to start lighting this up, But that's all I got. I just dropped in, gave a little summation about my, post-fight. A lot of chit-chatter going on. Isaac Dogbe against Emmanuel Navarrete. It's no excuses. Dogbe, he was just outperformed. He was outworked. You know what I'm saying? The advantages that Navarrete had was just astounding. He fought tall, he landed, he scored effective, and it was just an absolute clinic that he put on Dogbe. And much respect to the Ghana fighter fighting out of the UK. He should be back. And then to Lomachencko and Navarrete, Lomachencko and Jose Pedraza. It is what it is. Lomachencko, I believe he's going to be next door to get that IBF. He said he's going to wait on Mikey Garcia. But I'm going to tell you, Lomachencko, Mikey Garcia isn't coming back that quickly in March. So that means you're going to be out of commission, inactive, probably the latter year of 2019. Because Mikey Garcia is going to have to recover. He's going to have to recover from a tough fight he's going to be in there with to come back and put in a full training camp against a fighter like Lomachencko for the unification. Yeah, that's what I see. And then shout out, salute, congrats to Teofimo Lopez, rising star in the sport. Good dude. Put on a hell of a performance against Menard, a veteran. 30 some odd fights, victories. You know what I'm saying? So he did well. I wouldn't say poor Dogbe. He's in boxing. He's from Ghana. He's tough. He did what he had to do, but someone didn't give him the proper plan. Navarrete really haven't lost until he was later on in his career. It was early in his career. And they should have known he was going to come in there and he was going to be a solid opponent. Tall, rangy, and he basically delegated his offense perfectly. He used his range. It was lethal, surgical, and he really punished Dogbe. I thought for sure he was going to stop him like in the 10th round. But Dogbe is a warrior. He showed that, and he took it to the final second, the final frame. So it is what it is. He'll live to fight another day. He might want to drop down. But that's it. Salute for everybody who dropped through. Joseph McCann, salute. Thanks for dropping through. And we'll talk, man.